I like this story because, you know, as long as I can remember, it's probably the same for you too. There's been one day followed by a night, then another day, then another night, you know, just one right after the others, as long as I can remember. But the story explains how it got to be that way, and it explains that back in the beginning of things, it wasn't like that. It might be dark for 10 years in a row, and then light for just one day. And then it could be dark for 8 long years, and then light for another day. And some of the animals liked it just fine that way, because those animals liked the darkness. But then there were other animals who were very unhappy because they liked the daylight. The rabbit, for example. The rabbit would have felt much safer if she could see her enemies creeping up on her. And the squirrel was another one, because the squirrel liked to run down a branch to the very end and then take a long flying leap and catch another branch and run up that branch. But in the darkness, she would miss the second branch almost every time and fall and hit her head. And the birds didn't like it either, except for the owl. The owl liked it fine, but not the rest of them, not even the hawk and the eagle, because they could hunt better if it was light out. So one day when the sun happened to be shining, Eagle flew up to the sun, and he told him that many of the animals were unhappy. There wasn't enough daylight. And the sun said he wanted all the animals to be happy. So he said that Eagle should gather the animals together and let them talk about it. And however they wanted things to be, however much darkness and daylight, Sun said he would make it that way. So Eagle came down and called the animals together, and each animal stood up and said how he thought things should be. The biggest and strongest animals were the first ones to speak. So Bear stood up and said, 10 years of darkness, one day. And some of the animals agreed with Bear. But other animals had different ideas. Skunk said, oh, I think there should be 4 years of darkness and then 2 days. And Badger said, why can't it just be dark all the time? But Rabbit said, no, it should be light all the time. And Bluebird said, my children need daylight. My children need daylight. There were many different ideas, and the last animal to speak was the frog. Frog had an idea no one else had thought of. The frog said, one day, one night, one day, one night. Right away, most of the animals saw that was the best idea of all. The day and the night should just follow one another like black and white beads along a string. But Bear wasn't going to let that weak little frog tell him how things should be. Bear kept grumbling, 10 years of darkness, one day. Before long, all the animals were divided into 2 groups. The few animals that agreed with Bear and all the rest of them that agreed with Frog. And they couldn't settle the difference. So Eagle had to fly back to the sun and tell him that now all the animals were in 2 groups and they couldn't settle the argument. And Sun said there was only one thing to do. They should have a contest. Each group should pick an animal to speak for it. And the animal that could say how he wanted things to be the longest without stopping would get things his way. So Eagle came down and told the animals, and right away Bear said he would talk for his group. You should have heard him laugh when he heard that Frog was going to talk for the other group. Bear thought he would roar so loud you wouldn't even hear the frog. Well, when the time for the contest came, Bear came and stood on one bank of the river, and Frog hopped out onto the other bank. Bear didn't even wait for the signal to begin. Right away he began growling, 10 years of darkness, one day. And when the signal came, then Frog started. One day, one night, one At first you could hardly hear Frog because Bear was so loud. But you know, Bear is not really used to talking so much. His throat began to grow sore. His voice was getting hoarse. 10 years of darkness, one day. Bear went down to the river and he drank some water. And his voice came back strong. 10 years of darkness, one day. But it didn't come back for long. He started to lose it again. 10 years of darkness, one day. And the next thing you know, Bear was moving his mouth, but no sound was coming out. But on the other bank of the river, Frog was just getting warmed up. One day, one night, one day, one night. Finally, Bear had to admit he'd been beaten, and he walked away grumbling to himself. But Frog never did stop talking. To this day, if you go outside on a warm evening, you'll hear him out there by the water. If you could speak his language, you know what you'd be hearing. One day, one night, one day, one night. And that's how things have been ever since. There's been a day followed by a night, by another day. Thank you. But there's a little more I should tell you. You people know. About this time of year, Frog hides under a rock and goes to sleep. And when the frog goes to sleep, then Bear starts growling again. 10 years of darkness, one day. And the sun is a little bit frightened of Bear. And when he hears that, he starts to travel more quickly across the sky every day. And the days get shorter, the nights grow longer. But when the really cold weather sets in, then Bear hunts up a cave in the mountains and he goes to sleep. And once the bear has gone to sleep, sun grows braver, and he travels more slowly across the sky, and the days get longer once again. Now, this all happened a long time ago, but there is one more thing I should tell you about this. Ever since then, among the animals, and especially among the people, it is not the one who is biggest and loudest and strongest who gets things their way. It is the one who says what they want over and over and over and over. That's who gets things their way. Thank you.